Willkommen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean Huggins and this is React with Hugs. Thank you so much for being here. Today we have, gotta move my camera. These unusual things are so normal to Germans. This is once again from Antoinette Emily. Link to the original video down in the description. As always, normal everyday German things that really surprised me. Ooh. So let's see some average everyday German things that aren't so average and everyday for other people, I guess. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, then please consider subscribing, leaving a like, leaving your mustard down in the comment section, all of that good stuff. It helps the algorithm, which helps the channel, and it's very much appreciated. Anyways, let's waste no more time yapping. Let's see what these unusual things that are so normal for Germans. Los geht's!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany. Recently, a few people have asked me, Antoinette, do you ever run out of ideas when it comes to talking about Germany? And I can honestly say that I never run out of ideas, and I don't think I ever will. I have got almost 10 years worth of Germany related content right here, and I love to talk about it, and I love that you guys enjoy listening to it. So with that being said, in this video today I am going to be talking about everyday regular German things that really surprised me when I first moved to Germany. So in no particular order, one of the things that I was very surprised about, almost shocked about, is the fact that the majority of Germans drive manual cars. And
this is true. This is true, and this is not common in America. Most cars in America, I would say probably a vast majority of cars in America, are automatic.
According to the research that I have done, it is about 90% of Germans that drive manual cars.
I still can't drive manual stick shift.
Not 19%, 90%. This is something I found so surprising because around 90% of New Zealanders drive automatic cars.
Whoa.
And so for somebody in New Zealand to drive a manual car, that is something really rare. You do not see that every day. The subject of driving in Germany is something that is heavily on my mind at the moment because, as I've mentioned before, I'm in the process of doing my German driver's license, and I could save this for a whole video of it.
Damn, doing a German driver's license is hardcore. I feel for her. Not only is it super hardcore, it's also super expensive, super time consuming, super difficult, everything. All of it. I was very lucky that when I was living in Germany, my American driver's license happened to legally transfer over to Germany, so I didn't have to retake any testing or anything. So that saved me like potentially thousands of euros, thank goodness.
I will definitely be making a dedicated video on this subject, but for now I'm just going to be talking about the fact that I am learning to drive a manual car, and this is like nothing for Germans. Like, everyone in Germany learns to drive in a manual, but in New Zealand hardly anybody does. Why do so many Germans choose to drive manual cars over automatic cars? This was the question I asked myself. I was so confused by this because, to me, logically, I think it's so much easier to drive an automatic car where everything's done for you, and you know, why add extra stress to your life and extra work when you don't really need to? I asked my husband this question because
well, here we go. Here's a good question for you guys in the comments. Why do you prefer driving manual over automatic, unless you're German and you prefer automatic, in which case you're a rare person. So why do you prefer automatic? Either way, let me know which you prefer and why in the comments, because I'm actually very curious. I kind of have the same mindset as her, where I'm kind of like, why would anybody want manual in the first place when automatic is automatic? You don't even have to think about it. It's just automatic. You know, it just seems easier to me, but curious what you guys have to say about it.
Always driven a manual car. He's just used to it and he prefers to drive a manual. He said to me that for him, driving an automatic is boring and it takes the fun out of driving, and he feels like when he's driving a manual he has much more control of the car and he has just like a better feel for the car. And so that was his answer. I would love to hear some of your answers in the comment section. So guys, the next regular everyday German thing that really surprised me when I first came to Germany was the concept of winter tires. tires. I had never heard of this in my life before.
That is a good point. In America, we definitely have winter tires. Depends on where you live in America. But for me, coming from Pennsylvania, where the climate is basically the same as Germany in many ways, we definitely have winter tires, but most people get all year round tires. So it's like winter tires and summer tires combined. And, you know, those are kind of like, they're not great at winter and they're not great at summer, but they're just kind of okay at both. But then, yeah, when I went to Germany, you have summer tires and you have winter tires, and your summer tires are really good in the summer. Winter tires are really good in winter. You don't want to crisscross them too much. But yeah, in America, I think most people just have one set of tires and it's, you know, like decent at both, but not great at either, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
For winter tires. So in Germany, for safety reasons, it is absolutely mandatory to have winter tires on your car during the winter months. So by law, these tires in Germany have to have a minimum of 1.6 millimeters tread depth. So these tires, they're just thicker, they're better quality, you're less likely to slip in extreme weather conditions. This does make sense because in Germany it snows and there is a lot more extreme weather in winter time compared to New Zealand. It just surprised me because I'd never really heard of the concept of winter tires. In New Zealand, they drive with just regular tires all year round. So these tires would be sort of the equivalent to the German everyday tires, not the winter tires. So I asked myself the question, why do Germans not drive all year round with winter tires? That would definitely save them having to change their tires over halfway through the year. And my husband Rob said to me that winter tires in Germany are very expensive, and so you want to save on those tires and only use them when you really have to use them, and the rest of the time you drive with your less expensive, you know, regular tires. So if you were caught driving without your winter tires in Germany during the winter months, you will be fined between 40 and 80 euros. Sheesh. And also if you are in an accident without your winter tires during the winter months, then your insurance company will most likely not cover you. Oh. So it's very important that you drive with your winter tires.
Damn, that is brutal. I mean, I get it, but still brutal.
Is in Germany during the winter months. Okay, so moving on to a completely different subject. This is something that really surprised me when I first came to Germany, which is something that most Germans would think nothing of. It's just a regular everyday thing, and that is German shower heads. So the majority of shower heads in Germany are removable shower heads. So in
Oh, true. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's not so common in America. Most of the shower heads are fixed shower heads. And then, yeah, maybe if you have a fancy shower, you might have a separate little handheld thing. But usually it's not both of them in one, how a lot of shower heads are in Germany. This is a good one.
Germany, the shower heads, they slip into like a little thing, and you can stand up and have your shower and the water is pouring over you, or you can grab the shower head and you can sort of wash yourself with the shower head. So you can actually take the shower head off the holder or whatever. I'm not explaining this very well. In New Zealand, the shower heads actually fix, so you can't grab them. They're not removable. I'm not saying that all shower heads are like this in New Zealand, but I personally have never seen a removable shower head in New Zealand. So that was something I was like, wow, I wasn't sure how I felt about it at the beginning. Now I don't know how I could live without a removable shower head. I love it. It's just so much easier to wash when it's removable. You just grab it and you can like wash under your arms, you can wash down here. When you're washing your hair, you can just like really get in there and the water's like right up, you know, in your hair, and it's like really good pressure, and I just love that. And whenever I go back home to New Zealand and I have a shower, I feel like the pressure's not very good and I just want to grab the shower head but I can't. And so that is something that was really like an unusual concept to me when I first came to Germany. I've grown to love it. If you're watching this and you're from a country other than New Zealand or Germany, does your country have removable or fixed shower heads? I'm really interested to know. Okay guys, so moving on to another subject, a completely different subject again. Now this is something that totally surprised me when I first came to Germany, and right now I probably see this on a daily basis in Germany. This is a regular everyday thing that you would see in Germany. You don't even blink an eyelid. This is the older generation in Germany, probably over the age of about 70, riding bicycles. And
Oh. Okay, old people riding bicycles. That is definitely something you don't get in America. You don't get anybody riding bicycles in America because we just stay inside and eat fried chicken and get fat. So no one rides bicycles, and especially not old people, that's for sure.
Oh, I thought this was amazing when I first saw this in Germany. Like, this was something you barely ever see in New Zealand, older people riding bicycles. And in Germany, they not only ride bicycles, they ride without helmets, and they go on long sort of bike treks. This is just something that is so normal in Germany, to see the older generation riding bicycles, and I think this is amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's definitely a lot nicer to ride bikes in Germany because of like actual bike paths and stuff, which is pretty rare in America. And I think that having so many amazing high quality bike paths in Germany helps with, minimizing chance of injuries and accidents when riding bikes. And that helps a lot with prolonging how long somebody can confidently ride a bike safely. So that's nice. I like that.
You know how the old saying goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that is so, so true. I love to see the older generation just getting out there and being active and just enjoying life. And you just see this so often in Germany, at least the area of Germany where I live. We have a lot of really nice bike tracks in our area of Germany that take you from town to town, village to village, city to city. And I think it is just a really great practical way to get around riding your bike. This is something I just love about Germany. The older generation, they just get out there on their bikes, they make a whole weekend of it. They'll go for big bike tours and groups, and they'll stop for like little picnics along the river, and it's just something that is really normal to see in Germany. And I remember when my mum was staying with us, she commented about the fact that so many Germans, like older Germans, ride bikes, and I think that is so cool. And I hope that when I am like over 70, I will be active and riding my bike. I have even seen people over 80 riding bikes in Germany. How cool is that? So anyway, guys, that's all I've got for today.
Wow, all right, that was awesome. I think this was actually a very good video and a very good list, if I do say so myself. Some of these things I wouldn't have thought about, and I like that. I like that she thought of them for me. But anyways, I'm curious what you guys, the experts, have to say about it. What do you think of the list? How was it? Did she miss anything? Let me know your thoughts. Leave your mustard down in the comment section below. And again, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, leaving a like, all that good stuff. It helps the algorithm. You guys know the deal. Anyways, that's all the time that I have for today. So thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.